Today we're going to be looking at factoring ax squared plus bx plus c. The difference between this and our last part of our unit was that we have a lead factor. We have a coefficient for our x squared term. To introduce us to this, it's one of the more mathematical fish in the sea, and this fish down here, to attract a mate, will make these intricate geometrical patterns and spends a ton of time creating these patterns to try and impress a mate. Example 1, we're factoring 4x squared minus 9x plus 5. So if you think about how you are going to have numbers set up to make this work, you are going to have your two groups of parentheses. The things that are in the front of your parentheses have to multiply to give you 4x squared. The things that are in the back of your parentheses have to multiply to give you 5. So the first thing we need to do is start out by listing the factors. So factors of 4 for this 4x squared, we can have 1 times 4, and we can have 2 times 2. For 5, things that multiply for 5, that's going to be 1 times 5, or negative 1 times negative 5. You're going to have some sort of combination of these that will multiply together and then add to give you this negative 9 in the middle. So since that's a negative, we can already assume that we're going to use our negative 1 and our negative 5. So I'm going to go ahead and put those for the second part. So now we have to figure out what's going to go in front. So I could put the 2 and 2 in there. So if I've got 2x minus 1 and 2x minus 5, you only have to check the outer and the inner pieces with this, because we know the first terms when they multiplied should give us 4x squared. The last terms when they multiply should give us a positive 5. So let's double check here. If I've got 2x times negative 5, that's negative 10x. And 2x times negative 1 is negative 2x. So that gives us negative 12. Negative 12 is not going to equal negative 9. So we're not going to be using this 2, 2. So let's try a different setup. Let's try the 1 and the 4. We can either have 1x minus 1 times 4x minus 5, or we can have it switched around where it's 4x minus 1 and 1x minus 5. So again, we need to check the outer and the inner terms combined together. So here when I look at the outer, 4 times negative 5, well, that's negative 20. And negative 20 and then negative 1, that's not going to get us anywhere close to negative 9. So let's double check this one. This should give us our answer because the other two have been ruled out. So when I multiply here, 1 times negative 5 is negative 5, and I'll include my x. Negative 1 times 4x is negative 4x. So negative 5x and negative 4x is the negative 9x. So we have factored 4x squared minus 9x plus 5. It's going to give us x minus 1 times 4x minus 5. Let's try this one. Factoring 3z squared plus z minus 14. So factors of 3. Well, I've got 1 and 3. Factors of negative 14. I've got 1 times negative 14. I've got negative 1 times a positive 14. I've got negative 7 times 2. And I've got 7 times negative 2. So just for one number here, that's already a ton of factors. You can imagine if we had something a little bit larger like 144 or even 24, a number that has a bunch of factors, how this process of guessing and checking can take a long time. So we're going to make some educated guesses here. So I'm probably not going to take 3 times either positive or negative 14 because I'm looking for a 1 in the center. So, and if I just multiply the 3 times 1 and then deal with a 14, I don't think either of those are going to work. So I'm already narrowing down quite a bit by eliminating those two. So I'm going to start out with z and 3z in front. And let's see, if I take 3 times 2, that's going to give me 6. So let's do, since I'm going to have to multiply the 3 and the 2, let's put my 2 there and then negative 7 here. So when I multiply my outer, that's negative 7. When I multiply the inner, that's a positive 6. And again, both of these will have z's with them. Negative 7 and 6, well, that's just negative 1. We're looking for a positive 1 with this, so let's look at switching the signs here. So if I have z minus 2 and 3z plus 7. Let's try that. So let's see, my outer, that's a positive 7z. My inner, that's a negative 6z. And 7 minus 6 is a positive 1. So to factor 3z squared plus z minus 14, that's going to give me z minus 2 times 3z plus 7. Try this one on your own. List out the factors of 4 and the factors of negative 7 and see all the different combinations that you can make. You're trying to get the middle term to add to a negative 27. Pause your video now and try this on your own. So these are all the possible different combinations that you can get by using the guess and check method. The one that actually works that gets you the negative 27w for the center is the one that takes a negative 7 times a positive 4. So this set of binomials here is going to be the correct answer. Guess and check method, sometimes it really sucks because you have to go through a lot of different possibilities before you find the one that actually does in fact work. But guess and check method is a viable method. For your homework assignment tonight, I want you to use the guess and check method to factor these two problems here. Have a great day.